In this video, I'm going to show you guys behind the scenes how the Elliott Group does millions of dollars a month in high ticket sales. I'm going to show you guys the data needed, the KPIs that you have to hit, the sales process in order to crush all your sales, everything from top to bottom, the objection handling that we do. It's a full 1 hour live sales training here at the Elliott Group, full behind the scenes. Danny Klein with the Elliott Group. I have no limit! Write these things down. So like the more I've like been fully immersed in like in the CRM and like all the data and like learning all the different departments, the more I realize that like there's just a couple of things you guys need to focus on. So you guys know how we've been doing the scorecard, right? Yeah. So a lot of big focus has been on calls, which is like really important, right? But it's also the first layer. And so you got to think about like, you know, if there was going to be a target for everyone to hit on calls that wasn't like a bare minimum and it was like, what's the standard to be successful and hit like 100K? And if you were going to train and teach somebody, how many calls do you think that you would recommend somebody making?
Per day, per week, per month, per year?
Just per day. Like on a daily basis, you're like, hey, here's the keys to make 100 grand. Let's just like fast forward to like the 1 year ahead, $100,000 plus mic, $150,000 a month mic, or shit, 6 month ahead, right? And you were training a new guy, and I was like, hey, Mike.
7 calls.
Yeah, if you're Brendan.
If you're Brendan, 4 actually.
He's like, I just asked for referrals, dude. He's like, I only sell 2 deals a month.
But Brendan makes a good point. You know, I think you have to have a good balance. Like,
yeah,
there's a
quality,
certain amount, like,
quality
strive
calls.
for a minimum amount of calls, but also, you know, you need to be on social media. You need to get out there and make personal connections.
I agree.
We'll
get to
I
that
would say there's a minimum amount of calls to make, but if you spend all day calling, you're not going to make 100K.
Okay, I love that. We'll come back to that too, because I agree with that. But let's just say calls.
Bare
How many
minimum
do you think?
50.
50? All right, what would be like the successful amount?
100.
100?
Whatever it 50 to 100, yeah.
Whatever it takes? Yeah. Okay, so, all right, we'll just put down 50, and this will kind of lead me to my point about like what's important. Then you have appointments. How many appointments? So what do you guys think that the average deal is like in Elliott Group? Like what do you think if we took all the deals and we divided it by like, you know, let's just say it's 100 deals, and I was like, what's the average deal that somebody closes?
500.
500?
500 to 1,000.
500. It's 1,100. Now we have a lot of big deals, but we'll just call it $1,000, right? It'll probably go up with ETA, so $1,000. So I want to reverse engineer some of these things. How many appointments do you think that you need to have a successful day? How many appointments would you strive to have set?
My goal is 9.
9, 7.
I think it depends on how they're booked.
Depends.
Yeah.
For you though, your answer. How many do you like to have?
If
I was like,
if
what
I have even just like 3 really solidly booked ones, I know I'm gonna close at least 1 or 2. But if they're solidly booked, if they're kind of like very, you know, like random, then I might want like 10.
Okay. So watch, he's nicely trying to say like AI booked appointments or like self-booked appointments, which I can respect. He's nicely trying to say that. Am I right?
Yeah. Kind of, yeah.
You can only AI book and, you know, have the automatic appointments that run so well until it's like the people to get to show, it has to be manual touch.
Yeah.
The people to get higher quality, like it has to have a personal touch. Even if we brought in, and we'll have like different setters that we're trying out, and we're trying to push for everybody to move towards like, you know, getting appointments for closing and things like that. But even if I take a guy who's the best setter in the game, he'll be nothing compared to like an average closer on that first call. And some of the deals that you actually want, I just want you guys to think about this, because this is good, but also even if I take the best setter to a guy that's an average closer or someone that's like a good closer, what about the deals that you actually want? The deals that are 10,000, 25,000, those bigger ticket items. They're not gonna, I'm not saying they're not going to, but you're gonna need to have somebody that's like super solid. I personally like to take the sets because that's where you're gonna get a lot of those big deals, and that comes from like the awareness. So the point I'm trying to make is this. Let's just say that you set, we'll call it 6 appointments, right? So we set 6 appointments. I need you guys to think about like this because this is your own business, right? Of those 6 appointments, how many do you think show?
2.
2?
Yep.
4.
3? I'll say 3. We'll say 50% show. I feel like that's probably fairly accurate if I was to go through everything. Now, if you did a really good job, I would also say if you did a really good job setting your own and you also confirmed that you would get a higher show rate if you called them and confirmed. Like for me, my calendar, like my day, like I've shown Liam, it's like literally 1, 2, 3, 4, like I literally have to block off in 30 minutes now because I have so many different appointments. So any appointment that I have, like with the virtual guys or whoever, I call it, I'm like, hey, is this guy qualified? Is it set up? Is it ready to go? And so if you guys have leads, what a better way just to call them when they book and see if they're gonna show up. Because you gotta value your time to figure out if you're gonna hunt, if you're gonna do this, or if you're just gonna wait, you know, the morning of and be like, oh, I got an appointment today. You know, that's an employee way of thinking because some of these deals that are 10 or 25 grand, like you just gotta reset the way that you've been working and just going and like calling, appointment this, you know, this is what you guys focus on. You guys need to reverse engineer. Deborah's like, you gotta do a little bit of everything. All that really matters, this is the number one thing, in my opinion, is appointments set and appointments shown. So let's say this, right? So 3 show. Of the 3 that show, how many close?
1.
30% close rate is a decent close rate. I would argue this though, that we probably have a 50 to 60% close rate if you're good. You know why? Can anybody take a guess?
Why is there 50%?
Why would there probably be a higher close rate?
Because they know they can trust us?
Well, they can trust us, yes, sort of.
Our product fits everybody?
Product fits everybody. There's a $300 product that like offsets everything from our main offer that should increase the close rates massively. And we even have it, like honestly, if you get set and the 3 show, like you can almost get 3 for 3 on a 99 or 299, so your close rate could almost be even higher. But so I just make that point too because you have those low products. But let's just talk about the products, 5Ks, 3Ks, like the products that we're all trying to close. 30% close rate. So 1. So what does this tell you? From
You have
this,
to make 50 calls to get 1 close.
no, that's a good observation. 50 calls for 1 close. What I would be focused on, so Deborah mentioned like full circle. I'm really big about, I say full circle, I meant to write like business. I'm really big about like having like a full circle type of business where it's like when I look at my social, when I look at texting, when I look at DMing, when I look at follow up, when I look at upsells and referrals, I want to be super balanced. You know, some of you guys, if you don't have certain deals and you go back to just here, this is where you kind of like keep resetting the clock because if you sold 10 clients, you'd be almost better off nurturing those, trying to get 1 or 2 upsells from those 10 and just working the system. But because, you know, you may hear scorecard, this, that, you forget that these don't take that long to nurture. You know, you see Jimmy and Deborah come up, she's booking appointments, but then what Jimmy's doing is this game. And that's why I believe that Jimmy, is this correct? You're getting a lot of these deals because you're spending the time, you know, freaking Kirby's or watching someone's cat. You know, there's no like right or wrong way to do a deal. You just have to understand like what's the right move for you. You know, when you run your own business inside of this, you got to understand like the hardest thing to teach is these 2 things. This is what makes you a ton of money in this business outside of these things, in my opinion. Awareness and creativity. Like I believe like the top 2 things that you could possibly have. Because when you're making these calls, the only difference between Ian or me or you guys when you're trying to figure out like who, like all the leads, this, that, it's the awareness to figure out who is this guy. This guy might be cold, but he's like, oh yeah, I make a couple, you know, we have a business, we got a couple dealerships, but like he's cold. And then there's another guy who's like, I love Andy Elliott, and he's like an 18-year-old kid. And you choose to pour all your time into that kid versus I'm the guy that I know that he's qualified money-wise. He took my phone call. I would rather hammer the guy I know for a fact can and will buy if I do a good job than the reverse side of someone who just likes me and loves Andy, but isn't what I'm after. And when you look at how you run your business, I run my business that way because like I love the kids, you know. I set a little 30-minute call for them, I do whatever, you know, I send them some follow-up, and then like I just move on and I create a really good relationship on day 1. I plug them in on social media, and then that's pretty much it. And I'm looking for the guys that are inside here that I can follow up. But if I go back to this, right? How many appointments can I set? If you do a really good job, if I reverse engineered this and you did a really good job and you took the time to actually go back on these appointments to confirm them, manual touch, phone calls, videos, doing the stuff like, you know, every single morning when I have an appointment, I literally take a video. I'm like, yo, what's up, Jimmy? Hey, it's Danny Klein. Hey, I just want to let you know I'm super pumped to connect. I saw you were in construction space over there in Idaho. I put together a plan for you, man. I wanted to let you know I put together a plan. I took some time to write this out for you. I'm excited to share it with you on the call. So looking forward to seeing you at 2. If anything changes, please let me know. I got with our business development team and really put something together special for you. Let me know if you can still make it. Boom, video confirmation. And you'll watch your show rates like go big, but if you rely on automation, you're like, damn, they're not showing, they're not qualified. I need it for 2 reasons. I want to move the unqualified ones off my calendar and keep it moving to either hunt, to go on that trip, to network, whatever it is. You know, go and take that dinner. Brendan's taking dinners 5 times a week because, you know, if he's got a qualified appointment, he's on it. But if he's got a guy that's not serious, he's not making the time for it. So it really starts. It starts with this. Like, how do you value yourself? You want to understand, like, how do you get to a position, like, even bigger money-wise, even bigger deal-wise, whatever that is for you. You have to act as if first. And I know this is like self-explanatory and it sounds like motivational, but like some of you may think, oh, let me just, you know, jump on the call with this guy. I had a guy that jumped on with his iPhone. You know, nothing wrong about this, but this guy was on his iPhone. I don't know if anybody watched that sales call, and we'll get to that in a second, but he was running around his iPhone. You know, you watched that call where I told you about this. So this guy that, who watched the sales call? A couple of you guys watched it. So the guy was running around at work and he was on his iPhone and I could tell he was like running around. And I was like, hey, I really appreciate you. Like, I have a lot going on with the team and things like that. I have some really important stuff that I put together for you. I made it about him, not me, by the way. So I have some really important stuff I want to share with you that I took some time to write out, and I want to make sure that you get 100% of it. And so I don't want to waste any of your time, and I don't want to, like, you know, waste time because I have some important things that I want to give you, and I want to make sure that you have full attention for it. And so if I could ask, like, hey, maybe we'll set up another time tonight or tomorrow where you got a pen, piece of paper, a computer, so we can do this and I can have your full attention. Why? For me, you can say it's about the deal. I personally don't like people like not paying attention. Like I drive from a place of like respect. If I'm sitting down like on like a one-on-one, me and Sean are like doing it, he's looking at his phone and doing this, like that pisses me off. Because I want people, like if I have some value, if you believe that you have some value, like I want someone to like listen to me. And you guys all have lots of value to give people. You can't show it, but you have to respectfully say, hey, this isn't gonna work, right? In a nice way, like I just said, and you reschedule. And then the dude showed up, pen, piece of paper, laptop, the whole thing. In the call, there was literally 0 objections because I built up the whole call and then I closed them for a pay in full. Now people could say, oh, that guy was a laydown. I told that guy to get off the call in the first call because he wasn't paying attention.
Well, it's all about authority, and if you don't immediately call them on it, then they don't respect you. Like there's a subconscious authority that they don't have for you anymore.
That's true.
It really starts like, you know, it really starts with all that, like that self-authority before you even have it. A lot of times too, it's hard because you're like, you look at the board and you carry the direct reflection of authority that you believe in the ranking that you should be. And so if like you're not number 1, or if you're number 5 right now, you carry number 5 energy instead of number 1 energy. And that's not how it works. Like you have to carry number 1 energy before you come number 1. It's not like you can be the best number 5 and then graduate to a top 3 player. You have to imagine yourself as that top person. And it's not belief, it is belief, but it's like, once you start acting in accordance to align with who you tell yourself that you are, eventually the gaps, it's not difficult, it's not this stretch. It's a matter of like the skill that you guys have. This could be, you know, year 1. Let's say this is skill, and let's say this is money right here. Right, the more money you make, and the skill you acquire. The first year, you may be doing all this stuff here and doing all this work, but if you don't keep it up, a lot of you keep going back and resetting the clock. When if every single day, people think more time is what's gonna get you the result, which is true, but like, you know, Kobe, for example. Kobe has all the skill in the world, but if he keeps making a lot of momentum, and then he stops doing the things that got him where he did, or stopped elevating to a different level when he went, okay, I mastered this, I got the calls, now I should build my social, now I should build this. And he just worked up the ladder of things that he sees to be true about how this business works, and he keeps going back because it's identity. But if you would have went here and just kept stacking another one, and didn't go back, you would automatically have more money. But because you go backwards, you think, oh, I've made more calls, did this. It's master the calls, get better at the calls, get higher show rates, get more closes, then sell the closes again. It's a giant cycle of success. You got to think of this business like a community. You sell somebody a $2.99. How the whole virtual side of things sell $2.99 is they sell it on contingency that the plan is to upgrade in 90 days. It's a starter program. You get it on $2.99, we start, we get you rolling, and we plan to upgrade. And we'll have them doing the no ticket, and they upgrade for $2,700. Hey, we'll get you upgraded, we'll prorate the difference, let's get you upgraded. We get a plan to do financing, we get a plan to upgrade them. Because this, on a guy without, the commitment level's low, you know, the whole recurring ideology of like stack a million of these, it only works with people that are ultra bought in. You're kind of flipping a coin. I don't want to flip a coin if I can get 100% of people to then just go and upgrade or go to a guidance. Liam's seen it in the chat. About almost half of these people get upgraded to an ETA, paying full for the year. And so a lot of you may be working in the wrong sense or missing like one or two things that could literally add an extra like 10 or 20 grand to your month just from being like, hey, we're gonna start off here, get you rolling, but this isn't a forever month-to-month program. A lot of you may be the authority, right? You'd be like, oh, I don't wanna say that. Listen, if they don't commit to it, they don't get the results, and then they quit, and then they cancel, and they're gone. Mm-hmm. You know, the best way, like if I charge somebody, I've seen people and I've seen other programs, they charge way more. And a lot of times, all these people that we're getting, coaching from and ideas from how to make our business better, they're like, you should cancel that. You should cancel it. It's not worth it. You know, it's way more valuable. But a lot of times you're like, oh, the ETA, I feel like, you know, we should add this course and do that. Compared to the world that we're in, the value that we add is disgusting. It's just our first level layer. So to make my point, you go here and then you funnel them up. They come to an event and then, you know, a third of them get upsold on a 10 to 25K. And then the other people, you should be working for other deals. And it's just a cycle that you flow. You know, it's a cool thing. I think we take a lot away from Brendan. Brendan's a great person to learn from and also a really bad person to learn from. Same thing for me, because you don't see me and Brendan making 100 calls a day anymore, but you didn't get to see the work of the stack. And so when you see Brendan isn't the best closer. He's not the most assertive. His social media necessarily isn't the best. No shot at you. I'm just saying, neither is the twins, neither is mine, neither is anything. But what Brendan does have, undeniably, is he's advanced the levels of the skill set and never went back. Mm-hmm. Brendan likes doing this cool shit way more than he likes calling, so he forced himself and took another risk. When you travel or go to that thing, you just basically take another risk. And so, is everyone following this?
Yeah.
This is the best way. The undeniable guys like know this. The levels of the game is so true, and like you can't get caught in that level, because if you stop doing the things that got you from level 1 to level 2 to level 2 to level 3, if you stop doing those things or you don't learn to manage them appropriately, you start to go backwards. I'm sure there's times where Brendan's like, he puts everything aside, he just ripping calls all day long because he feels like he's gonna lose it. Now that's not his day-to-day anymore because he's elevated, but you have to still make sure that you got it. You know, so it's like you may be like, oh, I want to go learn from Brendan and do exactly what Brendan does. But what you don't get is that you have to come here first. You can do it faster. The whole point of mentorship is you could do it in 6 months and be like, let me duplicate it. But you have to go calls, appointments, run this, and just compress everything into a shorter time frame. But you don't just get to just jump and do it. I've been through the loops of like, oh, let me get some big deals, let me do this. Well, they're found through just doing this, but there's just a different level of awareness or creativity that the questions that we ask or the things that will trigger to get people to just do higher level stuff. Hold up, stop the video. If you guys like what I'm teaching here in that live sales meeting, I wanna give you guys a free PDF, the top 10 analogies that we use to close every single deal. I'm gonna give it to you completely for free. Just shoot me a text at 540-840-3241 and I'll drop you the script. All right, let's talk about, does everybody like this?
Yeah.
All right, I want to talk about that call. Who watched it? What did you guys think about? I want to hear, like, what did you take away? Can we, like, do you guys have some notes and things on top of mind we can talk about?
Yeah.
All right, let's start with Austin. I just want to hear, like, what did you see in the call? Just lay it on me, bro, or lay it on the team.
Yeah, I was watching, like, chunks of it, and I took some notes. I always like, the best closers to me, the twins, there's a couple people that are so good at, like, taking all the pressure out super fast and making it fun, where it's, like, your boys, but then you can also shift to, like, serious, like, hey, bro, this is what we're doing, like, super quickly. And you used to always have that framework. It was like make a friend.
Oh yeah,
coach,
coaching them, draw the line. I like that.
Yeah, and that's what you did. But the first thing I heard was like, bro, come on, man, you gotta wake up. He like yawned. You're like, I'm gonna have to ship you a pack of C4s. And like a lot of people would have just let him yawn, and then maybe it would have killed their state. They would have kept going through their presentation a little more like less powerful. Which you're like, hey, bro, what are you doing? You know what call you're on? If you're on Andy's call, he kick you out. And the guy was like, really? I'm so sorry. Now he's looking up to you.
Austin, pattern interrupt.
Yeah, pattern. Yeah. And then also you role played with him a little bit, and we were like showing him like, bro, if I was you, this is what I would be saying, because I know that guy doesn't know how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So then he's looking up and he's like, shit, if I knew how to do that, I'd be making this amount of money, or like I'm missing this much money. And I think that's also a form of reciprocity, because you're giving him the answer, and then you're like, hey, look, if you want to be able to do that, you're gonna have to go through this.
And also too, I'll just say this one thing, because I did it, and it was actually really, really good. Most people won't get to that level, but I'm like, dude, it's not that hard. I'm like, you can do the same thing. I don't want to challenge people's ego and be like, you're gonna have to grind, bro. It's gonna suck.
Yeah.
I'm on vacation, bro. I'm like, dude, it's not that hard. I'm like, everyone's overcomplicated. He's like, oh fuck. Because I'm just talking to him. He's like, oh man, it's so simple. You just said some good words. It makes sense. He's lacking the skill set. He's like, I just haven't learned it. So I want to make it easy for him to be like, oh, it's a simple thing. I don't want to do the shit.
Last thing was when you went for the close, you were like, so super simple, bro. Program's 5K. And the guy was like, 5K? Like asked like that? You're like,
Yeah.
Yep, 5K. And
Yeah, I was
then
like
you just kept
I said
going.
$49.97 and I said $5,000 I think is what I said.
Yeah, you said $5,000, and then you just kept going. But he like had a question kind of, and some people have been like, well, yeah, and started trying to justify money, and you're just like, yep, that's how much the program costs. So let me explain this to you, and you just kept going, which I like that a lot.
Cool, thanks bro.
Yep.
You did a really good job of holding the authority, especially on that part right there.
I like the 5K too, but sometimes when you say $49.97, they actually think it's $49.97.
Oh yeah.
We run into that so many times.
Well, you asked
I like
him.
that.
You asked him like
You
how
talk
much.
about this a lot.
Yeah, you asked him like how much did you invest in the company already, and he said $100,000. You're like, bro, this is gonna be pennies compared to what you've already invested. You know, it's like $5,000 doesn't seem like anything. And then you also told him that this wasn't gonna be like working with us was no risk, because he told him you already made the biggest risk, which was starting your own business. So
Yeah,
you made it
that's
seem like there was no risk working with us. This decision was going to be easy.
Yeah.
You framed it, and the biggest thing is you were listening. You were present. You were asking questions, but you were intentionally listening, and then you were coming back and just based on what he told you is how you were advancing the sale.
Cool. What else?
I was gonna say the same thing. What I really liked is I like the way you presented it, because it just made it not a big deal. You know what I mean? I think, and on my personal reflection, I maybe go through the presentation too much.
Yeah.
You know, so
You notice I kind of skipped overall.
yeah, you kind of flashed it to him,
But
but
you can
like
identify
move
too,
right
when you
past
guys
it.
need to go through like everything and kind of walk them through and identify like, if I'm in like a flow or like I got control with something else like that you've done, because sometimes you'll be on complete fire and you're like, I got this. And then sometimes you're like, maybe let me go through the path a little bit longer. And it's your job, just kind of like the dealer we did. It's like sometimes you just got to get right to it and you have to know what points to hit. And you don't just, everything isn't just like a one size fits all, and it's your job when you feel it, you just do what feels right. And
I think
don't
those-
just stick to a process black and white, it's there as like a framework.
I think that trial flows also before you even start the presentation, where you get them to commit to taking action before you even get into the presentation.
Yeah, commit to the
Like,
decision.
it's like before I even show you this, I just
Yeah.
want to make sure that you're ready to make a decision. If you can determine that it can help you, are you ready to take action?
Yeah, so Esteban did this and he saved some time the other day. It goes back to like authority and it goes back to time, because the second half takes another 15, 20 minutes, maybe longer. And I'm like, hey, if I show you something that you believe is valuable and believe can help you and you can afford it and you say this is solid, are you ready to start on something today? I want to make sure you commit. Well, it depends on the price. Yeah, if it looks good and you believe it's valuable, are you ready to start? And it's like 95% of people should say yes to that if you've done a good job. And the people that are like, this one guy was like, no, I don't want to do anything. Cool, man. Got you, bro. Don't even waste any time on people that like are gonna sit there and play that game.
He told me that, and I was like,
And then
alright,
half the time you're like, no, well, I want to see it. Okay. Now you've like repositioned yourself, because you're gonna have those people that are like those different type of players that are just like, just give me the price, man. Like, let me just know what it is. I'll let you know. Don't play that game. I don't play that game. Like, I'm here to help you. Like, we are qualified. Like, half the shit I teach you guys right now could help a business owner change the game. That guy knew nothing about business. If you guys notice, I asked this guy what his bottom line was. I said, do you know what's your...
profits, gross profit.
He said, I don't know. I said, what do you think your take home is? He didn't know anything. And I said, what do you think your take home is? Like 10 grand? And he was like, about 500 a week. He said it, and I was like, 500 a week. And I clarified, I said 2,500 a week. And so, let's keep going, because I'll take the rest of it. What else did you guys say was good?
The whole time you were just having a conversation with them. You weren't
It was in a flow,
trying
yeah.
to
So-
fucking sell them or anything.
Alright, so I want you guys
That's all
to
sales
know
is, just
the
a
thing
conversation.
that actually closed that deal is the way that I framed him, all the framing that I used to set it up. I think the most important thing that I did on that call was a couple things. Notice I dropped those questions in the chat. The first 10 minutes, all I did was what? So what does this do for me? This qualifies, watch, I'm qualifying. I'm doing what? When I'm asking the right questions, what's your top line? What's your bottom line? Hey, what's your strategy? What's this? What's that? I don't know. Sounds like a problem, dude. He's like, oh shit. He realizes he has a problem. Not for me being like, oh bro, you have a problem. It's you. Some of you playing checkers, and like, there's a difference between selling and closing. When you ask people the right questions, they close themselves. Mm-hmm. I guarantee you, if we would put that guy on a different call, chances are it could have been a total flop and not a deal. Like, I'm just being honest. Just because sometimes those things that set up perfectly are killer. But I dropped those questions in there. There's questions in there for salespeople, for sales leaders, and for business owners. And all you do, in my opinion, is on these Zoom calls, the beginning is you frame it and you say, hey, whole goal for the call. I need to set the expectation. There's certain things that you can't miss on these calls. You set the expectation and you say, hey, whole goal for the call is I want to give you a little bit of tips and tricks, get to know you, ask some questions about your business. And all of a sudden, if I feel like you're a good fit for what we do, I want to invite you to go to a bigger level or higher level with us, to really get involved with us. If I feel like you're a good fit, is that cool?
Yep.
Just boom, it's very simple. But a lot of times we're not saying that. I don't want to know the sales call. Just say, listen, I'm going to give you some tips and tricks, ask you some questions, give you some advice. And then if I feel like we're a good fit, we can help you, I'm going to show you what that looks like. I really love that word track that Andy, show you what that looks like. And he's like, oh, they all want to see what it looks like, right? It's kind of like the old trade-in close that we used to do. Like, hey, if I gave you more for your car, like, would you want to know what it was worth? Of course you want to know what it's worth. It's like the same type of thing. It's like an easy yes question. So the way I qualified from the lead up of asking the questions. So number one, I qualified him. I also established so much authority on the call and trust, and a lot of you are like being really friendly, haha. I'm doing this and I'm sprinkling jokes and sprinkling it to make sure it stays light. It's not the reverse. A lot of you are like really light, really loose, kind of just chopping it up with them with no direction. Mine is a very clear direction. You can kind of tell, like, I'm kind of trying to figure out what his things are. Like, imagine if you were a business owner and if you sat down with somebody that was going to fix your business, that's like how you'd want it to go. You wouldn't want to just run through a presentation. You'd want this, and then you'd want, okay, here's a solution, here's what we offer. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of times we're just doing it backwards, just creating some rapport and then going through it. It's questionings, but it's also, so the questions I set up, and then once I realized I got all the data I needed, and he already told me, I don't know. I already had a ton more questions, but I already realized that I had the position of authority, so I didn't need to sit there and keep kind of like making him look stupid. Like, he knew he had a problem after I kind of tapped on that pain for a little bit, talking about, oh, you don't know your bottom line. Okay, what are you making? Oh my gosh, are you doing Google? Okay, we need to get that going.
Well, the other thing that was good is when you asked him about his goal, you reverse engineered it for him.
Oh, yeah. So, but then I framed the investment. So, like, the no big deal came from me being like, but what I camouflaged it. For those of you that actually, I camouflaged it. And I said, okay, talk to me about your business. How much have you invested? Like, what have you kind of put into this? But it's not me like trying to like set him up. So you have to ask him on cadence. He tells me 100K, this, that, this. And I said, no, tell me exactly how much you spent. I re-clarified to him. Then I started writing it down. I added up, okay, so you invested $100,000 into your business. And if you truly look logically at like how much he's invested into his business, $100,000. This guy, watch, this guy invested $100,000. You know what I realized? This guy's making how much a month roughly? 5-10 grand? I'm like, you probably have a lot of debt, right? He's like, yeah, I got a lot of debt. So I already know that he's used to leveraging debt to go and make more money. So it's nothing new. So I leveraged the two things. The fact that he's invested and the fact that he's gone in debt to make money, because that was the biggest sacrifice that he took in order to become an entrepreneur, in order to become a business owner. So I go down this rabbit hole, and then I'm like, dude, listen, because since I've qualified all the stuff that he's invested inside his business, I'm like, listen, this is an investment too. It's nothing close to what you invested inside your business, but I know one thing for sure. If you don't learn how to land jobs, you'll never be able to grow the business. And I started talking about, watch, there was a question I asked here that was very important. And this is why it's so important for you guys just to understand business and understand certain things to a level where you're never going to be able to close some of these deals. He's like, I don't know if I should subcontract it out or if I should take all the work. You guys know what that means? Like, he's doing all the work. It's a construction guy that's, you know, it's turf, right? But like, he's doing the labor and doing the job.
I loved when you said that.
You can literally only do like
So much.
one job a day. So I'm like, we should subcontract it all out. I'm like, that's what the big guys are doing. That's what you need to be doing.
Yeah.
And I started telling him, because like all you need to be doing, and I started framing the fact, so the investment, and I framed the fact that he needs to start learning sales. Because what, as a business owner, you want to do what? The highest leverage thing. I kept telling him, you want to be doing the thing that's the most important in business, which is what? Cash flow. Cash flow. It starts with you learning how to sell, because you can't pay for all these other people. You got to go and just contract everything out. A golden world would be you literally selling all day long, and you subcontracting everything out.
Yep.
Now you're truly a business owner. Right now you're technically still an employee to your own company.
Yeah, go knock doors and then give them the jobs and let them build
Exactly.
the shit. You're doing the hard work for the little money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's horrible. It sounds like a horrible life.
Yeah.
I'd rather just work for somebody else. You know? If like just
Hey,
think
that's
about it.
powerful though. You guys pick up on that?
Yeah.
Dude, that's so good, dude. So
But
good.
this deal, it all got set up perfectly from the way I asked the questions to the way I leveraged and started framing the deck. So a lot of times too, my goal is like when I see Andy sell, he starts off by asking a couple quick questions. He usually finds it in like 3 or 4 minutes, or sometimes he knows people so well, he just goes right into it, starts framing them. Right, he's like, you're 40 years old, you want to be closer with your wife, man, you're drinking more than you should, right? Like, you want to go to the next level, your mindset's fucked up. He's framing them on what he's about to present to them. He's like, man, that's me. I think what we don't really do a good job at is making them feel like, man, this is for me. This is part of me. Like, we really did in the beginning is like making people feel like, man, this is for me. This is the fit. And we're just kind of going and calling, and then we're pitching and we're selling instead of closing. So, watch this. I believe I was talking to Liam about this yesterday. There's a very, very big difference between these things. And I was talking with Ian about this the other day too. There's selling, there's closing, and then there's negotiating. Does anybody know the difference between these three? What Brendan is doing is he's a really good negotiator. He presents a deal, lets it sit, goes back and forth for 2 weeks, and then boom, you see a $100K deal. And you're like, what'd you do? Well, it was 20 texts, it was a meeting, it was value, it was this, because it's negotiating. Closing is setting this up, asking the question. He's like, oh man, I need to learn sales because I asked the right question. Instead of me saying, hey, selling is, Esteban, you need to learn sales, man.
Yeah, totally.
You gotta learn sales, you gotta level up. What do you think you should do? What do you think, watch this. Esteban, what do you think that you need in order to go to the next level? What do you believe that you need? He's like, well, I need to be more confident. Okay, what else? Oh, confident. What do you think is gonna get you more confidence? I gotta learn this, I gotta learn that. Okay, what do you think that's gonna take? I think it's gonna take some money, I think it's gonna take some time. Yeah, it's gonna take some time. Okay, what else? Dig. He's like, man, I need to make change. I need to get this guy to literally just be like, I need to change. This is what I need. Because people, watch, I believe twins sell a little bit differently than me, but I also do the same thing as them. They're just a little bit more direct. I don't like to challenge the ego of somebody within the first sales call. They can do it because they're really good at it and they're killing it. Same thing with Andy. If you're not to a level, if you can't answer these questions and you're not the credible person, either you're full because you don't believe in yourself, when you go to actually press them out to do a deal, I don't challenge the ego at all. You know why? It's gotta be their idea. It's gotta be their idea. I don't wanna sit there and make them feel like I'm right. I want them to feel like they're right. And then once they get into the coaching, then I snap their ego and be like, bro, you suck. Like, you're horrible. A lot of you are like, dude, you suck. What are you doing? Man, your energy is horrible. It's way off. You're way too direct. You gotta get them to be like, man, what do you think is causing your energy to be a little bit off? Oh man, my wife, this, that. It's so good. It's therapy. I don't like when someone's like when Val's like, hey,
you're not doing this.
Why are you fucking doing this? Why are you doing that?
Yeah.
I'm like,
shut up! God, go make a sandwich.
She's like, but if she's like, you know, she's like, hey, she's like, hey, you know, why are you off today? I'm like, thank you for asking that. Like, I know you noticed that I'm off. She could have been upset, but she's like, what? You know, what's going on? All it is the difference between assuming and then asking.
Totally.
And you already know what the answer is going to be if you've done a good job. Everything needs to be a question.
Danny, can I say one thing?
Yes.
I think you did such a good job at like
Because like business guys, a lot of them, they already have a lot of ego. So like if you have a lot of ego or you're trying to tell them what to do, like they never really do it. Like the higher level guys you go to, like anybody that's done higher level deals, it has to really be their idea.
Yeah.
And I think that's why that call felt like so effortless, because I think when you're in those lower level calls, you start to think like that they're not like this when they are too. Like you could do that and close them up with like less energy, less like I know how draining some of the calls can be, because it's like you're kind of like overthinking it.
Yeah.
Whereas Danny's like very tactical, he's very relaxed, and he's very like, he's getting them to like just lead themselves right to where he wants them, and then they can't really get out of that, because then they're like, oh my God, like they kind of already, that guy had like already made the decision, you know what I mean? So I really
He was already sold, and that's why I was like just ultra direct.
Totally.
And it's like, once you do all of this, for me, I'm kind of like reverse. People will come out really hard. I do this, and then I present, and then I'll start picking it up and going a little bit harder and be like, dude, listen, like, I'm not gonna let you not make a decision. You committed to this, you committed to that, here's what we can do. Like, and then I started going harder, because he's already gave me commitment. I've established, I have all the ammo to go to war. He has nothing. Like, he stayed on the whole call and knows that he has a problem. He admitted to me. Now he's consciously making a decision. Like, I'm now doing the right thing for him by pressuring him to make a change, because this guy's $100,000 in debt, has no idea how to sell. He doesn't even know what his bottom line is.
Yeah,
He's totally
that's crazy.
screwed. And you know what's crazy?
He didn't know gross versus net.
You may think
you
like,
taught
what
him
are we
that.
gonna teach
That
a
was
turf?
cool.
Like, what are we gonna teach a turfing company? I'll let you guys know this. Literally, the things that we teach you and the stuff that we go over to meetings just like this is what most
It'll
business
change their
owners
whole life.
don't know.
Yeah.
And so it's like, you don't need to go and run and own a business to understand how to teach these things. They don't know their numbers, they don't know their data, they don't know how to, hey, are you on Google? Are you getting reviews from every customer? Oh man, no, we need to do that.
They don't know how to
Could
sell.
you imagine if they started like getting reviews?
It sounds
like,
so common sense to us. When the guy said he didn't know he had an HP, Danny's like, I had one of those when I was 12 or something, or 10.
Yeah, I remember.
And then he's joking, and he's
library,
like,
and
wait, you bought a Droid and you have an Apple? He's like, bro, that doesn't go together. And then he's like, let me show you. But like, I think that a lot of people, because they're trying to sell, not really serve them or ask questions, like they would have skipped over that fun, right? Like you saw that opportunity as a chance to like teach him something else, but also to like have fun with him and like kind of talk shit to him. And then he left the thing, and I guarantee he went and bought a freaking Apple computer. Like I like that authentic flow of like how that really worked. Like I just really love it.
These are the things that companies need that are doing. You may think that 50 million is a lot. If I told you guys the margins on 50 million is probably 10 million, so it's really a $10 million company. What were you gonna say, Brendan?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I like am kind of delusional with my beliefs, and whether this is absolutely true or not, it's a belief that serves me and like has made me a lot of money. So I think a lot of us get so like caught up with these business owners that talk about the revenue they do. Like we're like, oh my God, this guy does 5 million in his HVAC company. I'm like, bro, do you understand like what that guy's probably taking home? Probably 100, 200 grand.
Yeah, max.
And he hates his life.
Max.
So like if
And
you're
he's probably debt filled, bills behind.
yeah, and doing doing like $1 million a year in revenue at the Elliott Group is the equivalent to growing probably a $10 million HVAC company. That's my personal belief. I believe that.
Yeah.
But that gives me authority when I'm talking to these guys to know that like, bro, they don't know shit about sales or marketing or anything like that. So like I was talking to Esteban, I think, the other day, and he's like, bro, what are we gonna do with this guy? 10 million, 12 million? I'm like, bro, do you know the stats of how many business owners profit $1 million a year? It's super fucking low. I'm like, so the chances
Under 5%.
that this guy knows more than me and has made $1 million net is very low. So I probably know more shit than he does. You know what I'm saying? And I believe that. So like, I have authority when I talk to the business owners.
I love that.
You know?
It's all about your belief and how you can do the value and then how you can actually make it happen. Sometimes, you know, when's the last time you guys done a TO? I brought Ian in for a TO the other day. I'm like, I got this coach, right? I know I can close him. I don't have any ego, but I'm like, I want to see how you done it. Because you close a lot of coaches the last 30 days. I've been building a team. I was like, I want to see like what you put together. Boom. And I was like, okay, cool. And then we got together. We're like, yo, we could also do this. We started brainstorming.
Yeah,
There's so much that happens from like collaborating and a lot. Who knows the I'm broke? Who's on that call when I went over like the I'm broke like objection handling? So watch this. I want everyone to remember this. There's this guy that I saw, and he uses word track. And if Jesse was here, you'd think he has it down, but it's so sick. Luke, tell me that you're broke.
I'm broke.
Totally understand, man. Are you open to like a different perspective?
Sure.
Do you think that that's the problem, like being broke, or do you think that's a symptom?
Oh shit.
It's probably, I mean, being broke is probably a symptom.
They're gonna most of them are gonna say, "What do you mean? I don't know what that means." Yeah. Let me explain. If you were a doctor and you wanted to fix you would go to the root cause of the problem, right, to fix something, right? So watch this. If you don't have the skills, you can't make the money, right? You're thinking the problem is you not having the money. The problem is you not actually having the skill. And so when you don't have the skill, you can't go make the money. So if I look at the root cause, if I want to really fix what's going on, the real problem, no matter what money you have in your account, if you want to really fix it, is the skill. Because if you could sell like Andy, if you could teach like Andy, and you could actually close more deals, then you would have the money in order to make it. Only thing is do you want to keep being broke now with making no decision, or would you rather be a little bit more broke with all of the skill?
I'd rather have the skill.
So it's the same thing. What do you want? You can still be broke with no decision, right? Because you're actually consciously making a decision to make no decision. So you make that decision. Or
It's really good.
you're just a little bit more broke. And I do this on the call. You can be broke with no skill at all and stay in the same position and keep knowing what you get. Or you can be a little bit more broke with all the skill and all the upside. Imagine if you took a bet and there was a 300% chance that you'd get a W. Or if there was a 90% chance that you could get a return on your money. Would you take the bet? Right now you're constantly making decisions to not make the bet on the 90%. You have to just ask them like, listen, do you think that that's the problem or the symptom? They're all gonna say like, what do you mean? I don't know what you mean. Okay, are you open to a different perspective? They say, yeah, sure.
Are
I
you
say,
open
listen,
to a different perspective?
yeah, are you open to a different perspective? He's like, yeah, sure, I guess. Listen, if you were a doctor, right, and I go into the whole thing, if you want to fix the root cause, that's how you solve it, right? Do you believe in the pharmaceutical industry, or you think that people should just eat healthy? Right? I can't sell you the drug to fix all your problems. You got to go to the root cause. So we go to the root cause of the problem. The root cause is you don't have the skill and the confidence and the actual education to do it because, Kobe, you're working every single day, Monday through Saturday, Monday through Sunday, suffering, missing your kids, not making the money you want to make.
Yep.
Question is, how much longer are you going to do that? Or would you rather take a risk, get the skill, be a little bit more broke with all the skill on the upside? Boom, you transition. I have actual calls where I've done this, and I can drop this in there of like showing you guys how to do this, because you have to go back and forth with them. But it's the perfect, it's called a reframe. I know we haven't like got a whole lot of like deframing and reframing and all this shit, but it's called a reframe. He thinks, so like the authority of the call gets lost when he says, I'm broke. And now I'm playing his game. All I want is to control back. And I don't try to overcome the objection. I say, do you think that's a problem or a symptom? And he's like, what do you mean? Now he's asking me a question again. Now when he asked me a question again, I'm like, here's what it is. Now he's like, man, if I did have the skill, I would have the money. So now I've just blasted his objection. Now I'm probably gonna have to go a few more, but it has to be his idea again. A lot of times we're trying to overcome right away, and you could ask one or two questions again, take the position of authority back, don't challenge his ego on his money, and then come back in for a close to get him to understand the concept of how you're selling. Because people are like, oh, if you're broke, with the skill, the money, like we're trying to like say these closes. And they're good closes, but they're set at the wrong time. Because when you could set somebody up and they open up, you can't close a sale that hasn't been open, right? You open them back up, they close. But I really love them. It's called the problem or symptom close. And we'll do like a lot more of this, like objection handling and some of these things, but like, I'll touch on this last thing. This is the most important thing. Everybody knows the sales process, right? People watch me commit before the presentation, and I get them to commit again with the Harvard and the gym close. I did that on that call before I showed the slides. So before I show the slides, I said, hey, if I show you something that you're excited about and you believe is going to help you, are you ready to start? Boom, he says yes. Before I show him the payment link, I'll ask him again, hey, let me explain, we don't accept everybody. It's kind of like Elliott Gym, man. You guys heard the close? Go through the whole close. Let's imagine you walked in the whole gym, you got to see the whole thing, right? You signed up for the whole training package, you bought it, then on Monday, you didn't show up 5, 5:15, 5:30, 5:45, 6 o'clock. Do you think that personal trainer in that moment, right, me, do you think that I'd be excited that we just closed this awesome big deal for a new personal training client, or pissed off that we signed up the wrong one? Pissed off. Cool. That's all I'm saying, man. Listen, this ain't like some little magical close. We're coaches. We're gonna be working with you, and if you're not gonna show up and actually train, then we don't want to do business with you. So if I show you this and you like it, again, are you committed to showing up?
Yeah.
My God. Boom. I don't want to again, because they're gonna be like, oh, it's the money. I want him framed in the mind. I just put him in a box, and he's gonna stay in my frame, or I'm not going to the next step until I know that we're on the same page. And a lot of times too, like we'll present and see what they say. I know what they're gonna say when I present, because I'm not going to just throw an offer out there without tossing it open first. All right, last thing I'll try to say. So this whole thing, right? This order. Who was on the Zoom call with us? Do you guys remember what I went over?
Yeah.
Dude, if you guys can get this, you guys will all smash it. You guys will all smash it. And it goes back to the basics of selling that everyone's thinking it's a process, it's this, it's that. It's how big can you just sit there in the paint and handle objections. I like pressure. The best closers to people they can be like, hey man, I'm not doing this yet. I'm like, no worries, man. All I want to do is just send you some information, talk about it, get some feelers out. I can sit there and you would have no idea that I'm coming in like a shark. You'd have no idea. Because I'm going to sit there and I know I got to handle, that's not going to get closed in 1 or 2 objections. I'm going to have to sit there for probably 7 or 8. That's how most deals close. So the concept I want you guys to understand is in your mind, this process that we have here, it doesn't go like this. The close doesn't go like this. People think it goes like this. 90% here, this is this, and then we ask for the money right here, and then we get to handle 1 or 2 objections here. And then it's close. That's not how it goes. Not how it goes at all. This goes here. Money ask goes here, and then we handle 3 to probably 8 objections and questions. And they're not all objections. They're not all firm. I didn't think about it, man. What was that program? How does it? It's kind of I'm closing and negotiating. But this process probably should take 20-ish minutes. This process again. Depending, not every customer is going to be like a layup, setup client like I had. The better you get, the easier this will be. But most of these are probably going to be something like this. 20 minutes, qualified questions, boom, slides, the whole 9, boom. This is what it is, boom. And then now, instead of 5 to 10 minutes on the end of the call thinking that we're hours up, I got 5 minutes to close the deal, I got 10 minutes to my next appointment, I have all the time in the world to sit there and handle the objections. And if you can just understand the different mindset of how you handle objections of, hey, no matter whatever concerns that you have, I actually do the reverse. If I know that I got somebody that I don't really know where to go or how to handle or how to close them, I just say, hey, listen, permission to be direct, Esteban. Do you feel like what we have is a really good fit? He's going to say, yeah, I love it. Hey, I'm going to show you our whole program, and I want you just to ask me questions. I want you to tell me about concerns, and I want to figure it out together. Because if you want to start, I want to find a way. Are you in?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Boom, I present. Then from there, now I've invited objections in. I know this sounds really stupid, but I'd rather know what they are and handle them than have this guy be like, I just don't know, man. Like, I'm not making a decision right now. And he's really tense. He invites me in, and I'm like, dude, listen. And now I pull the old Andy Elliott and I start digging in because he's opened up and stepped into my world on purpose instead of me telling him, going like this, come on, Esteban, come on, bro, we gotta kill it. I'm like, hey, man, you wanna kill it? Let's kill it together. And then he comes over here. And now we're going and working through it. I call it open conversational selling. We're literally right here, and we're having a conversation together, except I'm motivating you to run and to walk faster in that direction. But you have to decide to go on the run with me. I can't tell you gotta run with me. I gotta say, do you wanna run with me? You wanna kill it?
Yep.
Cool, man, and then we figure it out together. But the point I'm trying to make is if you could understand that this process is perfect, except the after ask, you have to get more comfortable with sitting in the paint. A lot of you can handle 1 or 2 objections. I'm sitting there and just role playing every single day. I'm hitting with objections. I want to learn how to overcome every objection. And I think that we're like, oh, it's a lead, it's this, it's that. If you got everyone on a presentation, how much could you close if you imagine this, right? If I told you guys this, let's say 100% of the deals, like let's just say that there's a rule, mindset of a sales warrior, right? Let's just say there's a rule in sales. For let's say you can get past 6 objections on a deal. If you can get past 6 objections, this is the rule in sales. Nobody buys with 1 objection. It's just the rule, right? These are the rules of the game. Nobody buys on 1, nobody buys on 2 or 3. 100% of them buy on 6. How good would you get at objection handling if you knew once you handle the 6th objection, the credit card would be ran?
Great
You'd all be
mindset.
fucking disgusting.
Great mindset.
You'd all be disgusting, except you're like, oh man, I just 1 or 2, and then you back off. Instead of, I know, based off the data of sales and how it works,
Sure.
it's always going to be at least 2 or 3. Unless that you've just done a good job or the brand has sold it. Realistically, we've been spoiled by the brand. It's 1 or 2 objections and we're like, okay, let me follow up. I got you. We love you, man. And it's like, you back out way too early. Yeah. Instead of being like, bro, are you really going to stop? Like, are you really going to uncommit? And just sitting there, it doesn't even need to be perfect. You just understand that you have all the time in the world, so you get to ask some questions, you get to talk. It's not a 5-minute process of being like, bro, we gotta go now. We gotta go. Listen, hey man, like why aren't you gotta level up, and you totally lose all your composure.
True.
Instead I'm like, bro, I know that you wanna do the program. What's really going on? And he's like, man, I just never did something like this before. I'm like, I got you, man, I felt the same way. Can I tell you a story? Because I've invited the objection in for me to handle. Because if you don't invite it in at the end with someone who's this type of player, they're gone. And you're missing 50% of these people because you don't want them or because you kind of attack them.
Yeah.
So that's all I got for you guys, but
If you got this far in the video, you're a true savage. I appreciate you. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, share the video with the homie, and make sure you take some time. I want you guys to comment down below. What is the #1 thing that you struggle with in high ticket sales? I'm gonna take the time to personally respond to every single one of the comments that you respond below. Let's get after it.